Hi, folks. John Hecker here again, the pro at Brooklyn Country Club in Rochester, New York. Today I'm going to take you through some of the, let's call them the fundamentals of the setup position. You know, when you're on the range and you look down the range, you can always kind of see a good player. And that's really because they're usually set up somewhat athletically to hit the ball. So you can almost predict they're going to have a good swing or maybe not so good a swing based on the way they set up to the ball. So I thought I'd take you through some maybe different ideas that you hadn't thought about before. Number one is on the right. We're going to talk a little bit about the body posture. Basically, from your right hip to your right leg, that flex there in your thigh should be about 20 degrees. It doesn't have to be exactly 20, but it should be about 20. And then your upper body should bend twice as much as that. So you usually see 20 in the lower body and 40 in the upper body. And with an iron, when you draw a line from your chin down, usually your hands will be inside of that line. Now, when you have a driver, it is a longer club. The lower body will be very much the same. The upper body will probably be a little bit more upright. When you do that, a line down from your chin will take you into the middle of your hand. So it is normal that your upper body would be a little bit more upright with a driver because of the length of the club than with an iron. It's also one of the ways you can tell if clubs don't fit people too much. You'll see somebody bend more than 40 degrees with an iron when their clubs are too short, and then if they're too long, they'll tend to stand too upright. But again, a kind of an idea down the line here. So you want 20 degrees of flex in your lower body, that right thigh, focus in on that, and then 40 degrees of bend. Maybe something you hadn't thought about there before, but like I say, I think that'll be kind of something good for you to think about. Now, when you look at the face-on view of the swing, it's one of those things where, people always say, well, your stance is too narrow, your stance is too wide, and, you kind of need some kind of idea of what that means. And I'm going to take you through Bernhard here, Bernhard Langer, and you can kind of see with his iron and his driver that his driver is only a little bit wider if you look at their stance. So kind of focusing on that. So a general rule is, a 9-iron, the outsides of your shoulders will equal the outsides of your feet. With a driver, the outsides of your shoulders will equal the inside of your arches. So it's only a little bit wider as the clubs get longer. It's basically to help you brace yourself for a bigger, more powerful swing with a longer club. I did want to say at this point, if you look at his feet also, one of the things that you're looking for is some flare to your feet. So if you're Bernhard Langer and you're looking at his right foot there, if the toe was at a 90-degree angle, it'd be at 12 o'clock. Well, it probably should be at 12:30 with his right foot. And then with his left foot, if you did kind of the same idea, his left toes would point at 11 o'clock. So there's a little more open in the front foot. That's sort of to resist too much turning in your backswing with your right foot. But with your front foot, it's also to help you to get through the shot. Okay, some other ideas to think about here. When I look at somebody, I want to see their head pretty much in the center of their shoulders. In other words, I don't want it tilted too much to the left or to the right. It's sort of right in the middle. It sounds like it's something that would be pretty simple, but the reality of it is people get lost on that sometimes. If you drew a line down from somebody's head, with a driver, you're definitely going to see their head further behind the ball than they would with an iron, which kind of makes sense. The iron is more in the middle of your stance, where the driver is a little more up. You always want to see some tilt of the shoulders. When you draw a line on there, it's really, if you're looking at it, let's say from a straight line is 0, you're looking for 10 to 12 degrees in shoulder tilt. I'd always want some. And you'd also want some with your hips. So you want to have a little of that. And I know if I see it the other way, if I saw somebody's shoulders tilted that way or their hips tilted that way, I know I probably have a problem with them with their swing. They probably tend to be too steep and not shift their weight properly. So those are some ideas of the setup position. The last thing we can talk about here is I've got kind of a cool picture of Tony Finau. And you can see how from behind that his hips do have some angle to them. It's not a lot, but it's some. And again, I would never want it the other way. So things you want to look for with the stance, it's a little wider with your driver. Your head's a little further behind it. And we talked about the the down the line view, clearly now you have some parameters for how much to bend over, where your head should be. Again, his head's right in the middle of his shoulder, so it's not tilted to the right or to the left. So again, if you can focus on these simple things, you'll get yourself in a nice athletic position and be able to hit that ball solid, hopefully a little more than you might do right now. So give it a try, and we'll hope to see you out in the course soon.